Hello again. And while I'm thinking about it, warning, chances are I'm not going to be able to finish this cast. But I still want to let you guys know who wins. So I'm going to put the winner in the description. So do not read the description on the YouTube video if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're watching on Twitch, check out the YouTube. Yeah. Okay. So I just casted another match, probably posting these on different days, but for me these are like half an hour apart. We have a whole bunch of matches for the League Community Tournament today. This is the second one of the day, and I have my team's match starting in an hour and a half. So last series actually did finish in an hour and a half, but it was a full 4-0 sweep. So unless that happens again, I probably won't be able to cast the whole thing. But I still want to provide some amount of content for you guys, and I still want to be able to cover some of the matches. So that's where we're at. Just want to let you guys know. Just to kind of go over some of the rules again briefly, just in case somebody clicks on this video as your very first one for this series for some reason. Yeah, you never know. Essentially, it's a best of 7. It's a team match. Each player has 1 life. If they lose a match, they're eliminated and cannot play again for the round. Each team send in 4 players. You can switch up who you send in each round, but you cannot send in a player that has already lost a match. I think that's a better description than last time. It's open info, so your opponents know what gears you have. I always forget that, so I'll probably reference like, oh, what gears does this have, and scouting and stuff, but yeah, it's kind of the general. And I didn't say it at the start last time, but it is a Crema sponsored tournament. Oh, so the winners of the tournament in the end will actually get Novas as a prize. So thank you, Crema. I really appreciate everything you do for this game's competitive scene. You guys are great. Match could start any minute now. We're just kind of waiting on the teams to send in the last room. They're like it. So every team has to send in a locked code that each of their players are going to be playing before the match starts, just so you can't change around which team you want to play as soon as you see what your opponents are running. So we're kind of waiting for those teams to be submitted and for the players to send the name of which player they're sending in for the first match. Spanish Inquisition won the coin flip. I should mention that at the start, but it's in the title anyways. This match is Spanish Inquisition versus Bots United. Alright, so round 1 is Natna versus Kunders. Natna will invite. Bots United. Hello Kunders, welcome. Thank you for the follow. Best of luck to ya. Hold on, am I bad at spelling? Oh, it's just Kunders. Come on, I faced you enough, I should know that. Not even online, come on. I appreciate you. You're on Miss Kunders, okay. Gotcha. Alright, just looking at teams, looks like Natna's got a fairly standard Digi-Aggro team, but it's actually got Drakash on it. Oh, come on, I actually didn't try and run into that. Oops. There's a Drakash, and then Kunders. Actually a really interesting team. There's 4 neutrals, which is not something you see often anymore, as well as a Scunch. And then, oh, it kind of looks like a physical, aggressive physical team. Just message Loreweaver to tell him to. Yeah, it definitely threw me off. Alright, and we're able to hop in. So something worth noting is the Hedgen has Kaleidoscope. It gets banned out right away. Kaleidoscope allows for Generify, which would to be able to pass evasion. Only works with the neutral types, but it's a big threat when paired specifically with Valash, because it allows Valash to have evasion on turn 1 when it more than likely madness buffs. Then we see a Zabian banned out on Natna's team. Zabian's really flexible in what it wants to be able to do. It also has potential to have telekinetic shrapnel, which is a mental move, which with all these neutrals on Kunder's team makes sense why he would want to get rid of it. He doesn't want to play the guessing game. It's a very safe choice. But we do see Monko get picked up. Monko kind of threatens out the crystals. And depending on speed values, could threaten Zabian as well. It's Gunshka's Digi. We see the move flank and Mimic picked up. Very strong combo. More than likely an unnoticed move flank, so that if one of the move flanks is not attacked, it will get a speed boost next turn. But double base jump can do a lot of damage. Res badge on the move flank and then war drum on the Mimit just has a lot of damage potential. So does the double digi, the Monko Hedgen, so we'll see. Not sure which slot's going to get doubled in. If this Hedgen is running Plasma Beam, it probably could live a double in base jump, which might be really important. So we'll see if it's running that moves. Some of them run more offensively, and Natna's Hedgen is running Fake Beard. It's not. I guess both teams had a Hedgen, so I should have clarified which one is holding Kaleidoscope. Kunder's one is holding Kaleidoscope. Natna's is not. That one has Fake Beard. So it could have like higher stamina moves, like Hellfire, Fire Tornado, non-synergy microwaves. But then Hedgen kind of has a flex slot in his fourth one. I've seen anything from Plasma Beam, Magma Cannon, to stuff like Zen Meditation and Generify, so never know. Lots of cool options. Second ban phase, we see Yowler banned out. Very tanky. Digi aggro isn't really able to kill it in 2, sometimes even 3 or 4 hits. Yowler's super tanky. And then we see the Drakash banned out. Drakash is more or less type coverage. Kind of creates more options. Plus burn control is really nice. It would have been Hellfire synergy for the Hedgen. And for itself. Some other gear choices. Nana's Gazuma has Hand Fan, so it probably has significant special attack invest and is actually an offensive threat. Chromion has Double Screen, so it's slightly more defensive. Maybe being able to save the TVs it would have had to invest to live at Crystal Spikes from something like a Zenarith and able to put those elsewhere. Chromion doesn't have a specific item that fits it well anyways. I think Marbles is really good value since it's not run anywhere else. Items on Kunder's team are pretty standard. It's interesting to see Fake Beard on the Valash over Sweatband, though. I know many Valashes opt for Sweatband for more staying power. But Fake Beard is definitely a viable option as well. More than likely, this is a high speed invest Monko and a low speed invest tankier move flanks. So Monko and Hedgen could probably double into one of the move flanks, but it probably is not enough damage to kill. But it would put them in range for a spread move from Hedgen, either Binary or Hellfire to kill. Also, the fact I forgot Binary when I was going through Hedgen's possible moveset, I'm disappointed in myself. Oh, that is very close to getting the KO, but it does not quite get it. If that was Synergy Microwaves, it would have been enough, but it was not. And Hedgen, without the burn, is going to take too much damage and get knocked out, not surviving the turn to get its spread move up. And now Natna has to spend one more turn getting damage off on this Mimit. And a move flank more than likely outspeeds Monko now. Plus they both have Prio available with Goring. I know sometimes the Unnoticed set also runs Double Kick as an option as well for turn 1 Prio if needed. See Ragnar come in. Probably because it's not going to do a whole lot against the crystals in the back later. So just having it here to maybe bait out hits and also give synergy for Monko for the microwaves is good. Getting some nice damage. Ooh, the Ragnet has Taser. That helps Monko survive that hit a lot better. That could be very crucial. Gunner's been talking about this double move flank opener for a long time. Nice to see it finally. It's an older opening. It used to be super popular back when there was more damage turn 1 in the game. Over time, turn 1 damage has gotten nerfed. And so it's been less viable. Also, move flank's attack stack got hit pretty bad, but it got some back after Goring got completely gutted. So yeah, it's very threatening against a team with no mentals. Adoro's really the only mental in the meta right now, or at least the main one. You still see some occasional ones like Naga and Sanby, but those are less common. And you'd have to be running 2 mentals for move flank, not to just threaten out and possibly run through your team. So we see the Vlash on the field now, threatening a Sea Spikes or something on the Ragnet. I'm guessing it's special just because it's the Kaleidoscope Hedgen, and Vlash is like one of the only neutrals that has a way to set up turn 1. See the Monko swap, very interesting. I kind of not sure about that. Maybe afraid of a Sea Spikes plus a Goring, or I guess double kick. It looks like the move flank's probably not running Goring, it's just running double kick. But I would not have sacked HP on the Chromion. And it's actually a physical Vlash. So we do not see the Sea Spikes come out. Possible it has Sharpening though. Sharpening is a really strong move as well, and that helps physical Vlash. Since it did not get a Jack of all trades boost, we know now that it is a Scavenger Vlash. So there's not really any point in damaging it until it the move flank goes down, and it would even heal off of the opponent's Tems dying. The move flank outspeeding the Chromion is really unfortunate for Natna. He must have clicked Binary Flood. I think that's extremely greedy, considering the move flank was +1 at the time. Unless this move flank has significant speed invest, and just the +1 helped it outspeed a Chromion from a harmful microwaves from the Chromion, which is a possibility, but I feel like it's kind of unlikely. The Vlash got a Crystal Bite off on the Ragnet because it was faster, and Ragnet did Hypno it, barely survived. But Natna is hurting very badly. It's essentially a 2v3 at this point. Move-Flank gets one more hit off at least before it dies. So it can take down the Ragnet and force the Volphy to attack it. Volphy's not really doing a whole lot this turn anyways. Its only Earth move right now is Sludge Gift, which would probably outspeed and wake up the Vlash, allowing it to get a hit off, which would not be optimal. At the same time, Monko is sitting in the back of Natna's team, and it can threaten out everything remaining after the move flank is gone. We see the Volphy take the double kick, does almost half its health. And move flank barely hangs on after the OX, forcing the Sludge Gift to go its way. And we see Ragnet getting an Electro Punch on the Skunch, doing some chip damage, possibly putting it in range to die to a Microwave from Monko, but unlikely. Skunch is very bulky. And Ragnet is probably going to die, and Synergy Microwaves does slightly more damage than without Synergy. So not having that damage buff could be the end of Ragnet. Or Monko. Plus Skunch now has one hold off of Ninja. Tuvine and Skunch both survive this turn easily, and then Monko has to eat a Ninja plus a Turbine, which most Monkos on this type of team are not healthy enough to be able to do. So it would be incredibly surprising to see that. Wolfie gets high-toed. It does go down. It actually looked a little close there. May have actually thrown things off if it survived. But now Tuvine could click any move and finish off Ragnet. Thank you, Demanic, for the follow. We do see the Monko come in. While it does have type advantage against everything on the field, like I said, it just does not have the speed or the tankiness to outspeed or survive the prio hits that are coming its way. Valash also has Ninja up if the Monko did survive. Interesting to see, Skunch does not click Ninja. We saw Haito, so maybe it's running Oshi, Haito, Savage, and like P-Jab, and it's not running Ninja. That would be very surprising, but if it's a slow, bulky Skunch, maybe that's just the choice he opted for. I wouldn't be completely surprised. And that didn't do anything. That's either a really tanky Monko or a really weak Skunch. Hard to say. I'm not really sure. That was like 32% to a Monko. Oh, it does have Ninja. Okay. Oh no, that was interesting. I guess he probably doesn't have the damage and knew it wouldn't kill. And by using one prio move on one of the Tems and just tanking out the other, he just kind of solidified his win. Well played by Kunders, picking up the first win against Natna. So, Bots United are now ahead 1-0. I just have to wait a couple Orphill encounters while the players send in the team send in their next player. I have to say, the Spanish Inquisition is probably really hoping they have a member who brought multiple mentals to deal with Kunders at some point during the match. Although Kunders could bait in the multi-mental player right now and then send in somebody else, and if they lose, then not having those mentals could be highly detrimental. Although it's not like Kunders' team was specifically weak to mentals, because there was the option of Valash, which is a neutral that isn't weak to mental. Crystal is not, or neutral that's not weak to mental. And as well as like a double Tuvine option and a double Zalbian option. Alright. Demigel versus Argon. We see new players from both sides. So we do not see Kunders returning this time. Just wait for one of them to send. It looks like Demigel is inviting. Argon's running a very similar team to what he has been for he's kind of similar to Funky. He's got a core he seems comfortable with, and he just has basically mastered it at this point. Plays it extremely well and switches out a few Tems every patch. One of the top players in the game. Usually he's hanging around top 3. I'm not sure where he's at right now, but he's an incredible player. Demigale I am not as familiar with, but not to discount their skill at all. It's just I don't face them nearly as often. I think that their team looks pretty threatening. They've got a lot of meta threats on there. Looks like there was actually a bit of an issue. Maybe the wrong team sent in. So we're just going to do a quick reset here. No worries, it happens. We got a GG's from uh, easy game. Take those. Accidentally selecting last week's team, throwing everyone off. Get a reset there. All right. This is the team. The teams for both sides. So Oregon's got a pretty fast team. I would not be surprised to see the Nagais banned out. As far as what Demigel wants to ban, probably predicting a Nagais ban. Nagais doesn't specifically have type advantage against anything here. It is funny to see though, Demigel does have the double mental, possibly to counter Kunders, as I just mentioned earlier. But Kunders did not come back, so yes. We'll see what happens here. I'm a bit surprised to see the Gialis ban. There is double earth and a fire on Demigel's side, but I guess it's basically 3 things can hit Gialis super effective, and then Gialis can hit like 4 things super effective, so it makes enough sense. Demigel's team is a little weak to melees, and specifically crystals as well, so Gialis is a fair ban. Argon still has double water with Hazoret option, which is always a strong lead. Hazoret doesn't mind if it dies because it can still take HP off of whatever it faces. With Toxic Farewell, which is the favored trait in the current meta. You see a Chimerian picked up. That's pretty gutsy considering double fire is available on Argon's side. And like the token is picked up. It's a very free choice. Demigel has no immediate water moves to hit it with, only one possibly being Water Jet on Garunder. And Garunder's also the only electric, and doesn't have an electric till turn 2. We see the other token picked up as well. So, I mean, either token can really do anything against each other, but Volphy is just fine sitting on this board. Chimerian does have to swap out, so immediately in the lead, Argon does have an advantage. Argon, Corrin, Connor. He's known by many names. That I may or may not use interchangeably. Lord Weaver's got another one down there. That's the one I have not heard for him yet. Get the Momo band out. With no mentals on Argon's side, it does make sense. Doesn't want to deal with such a tanky Tem that hits very hard. And we see the Oshara band out. A little surprising since there's a Volphy and double Toxics available. But Oshara can snowball out of control. Jim first pick into double fire, Monka S. I do think that's a very, very interesting choice, but maybe Demigel has a plan. And I'm curious to see what that plan may be. Momo going to be rough. It would always be a token Volphy lead you cannot recover from. Yeah, the lack of water types without Nagais, and even Nagais is only like a quarter of a water type. Only a water type defensively when it hurts. It does make for a rough matchup into double fire. Likes a roast chicken dinner on Sunday. I had a nice chicken lunch, and today's Sunday. It is heater token. Double heater token. But only Argon's token has marbles. Demigel's actually has Sweatband. So Volphy is less of a threat turn 1 now. But Demigel has to kind of swap in Volphy here. to eat the hit from the Tolkien. He'd like to swap in Turok, but Volfi almost surely plagues that slot instead. Wow, we see the Tolkien swap for the Platamus, preparing for the Chim swap, but the Chim stays in! And this is actually a crazy good play. What does the Tolkien do? Oh no, a CPG into the Volfi? Oh, there was so much potential for that to be an amazing play. A double in into the Platamus slot. Like, if you were staying in with Chimerian, I would have predicted... Like, you had to predict Tolkien to swap, I feel like. And that would have been an amazing prediction. They still chunked half the Volfi, but Platamus now has Aquatic up against Tolkien. The only saving grace here is that if it does that, Chimerian gets a free front whip off on the Platamus. But the question is Platamus that much of an issue? I never would have read a Platy swap in. Me either. I would not have. I don't think I would have risked leaving Chim in, though. That would have been really risky. So we see the Tolkien go down. We have to see the front whip into the Platamus over the Volfi. If we see it into the Volfi, yeah, okay, it is into the Plat. That would have been a great play from Argan, swapping in the Tolkien. If it was on the Volfi, but it's just good to have Tolkien on the field against this Chim regardless. Grinder does have a really nice field, so that's fair. At this point, had the CPG on turn 1 been against the Platamus instead of the Volfi, Platamus would actually have gone down there. And that would be really, really nice. And yet trapping Platamus, or like Platamus being on this field against Garunder, is still kind of in favor of Argan. The Garunder's item is Energy Drink. Not surprising, that's probably Garunder's most common item. It's like 80% play rate, I'd guess. It would almost like bait here, just so it doesn't have to get burned by the Tolkien. Platamus has to watch out if it uses Toxin Shower, because Tolkien will take a decent amount of damage if it stays in. Oh my goodness. So that Chimerian just lived a Fiery Soul. So it must be calced to live a Fiery Soul normally. And that's why it stayed in. It just wasn't scared of dying turn 1. Also worth noting that because the heater, or the Tolkien was revealed heater, it doesn't have Pyromaniac, so the amount of damage it deals is actually even less. So it's possible that a Chimerian with it's pretty reasonable for a Chimerian to live a heater Tolkien Fiery Soul, I think. And if it gets Fiery Souled and it has bait, it actually pushes off the burn and gives it a really decent turn 1. So that's probably what Demigel was hoping for. Problem was that Volfi being the partner of Tolkien made it so that the CPG it got off turn 1 was not as effective as he would have liked. Since Platamus went down, Two Vine's able to come in very free. And it's not really... a Fiery Soul plus a CPG into the Grunder probably doesn't take it down, but it does a very high amount of damage. And a burn defib onto the Tolkien probably only does about 40-50%. So we just see a swap to Turok. Very safe pick. Turok loves this board. Argan getting a lot of marbles value on the Tolkien though. Really slow Chim, by the way. 500 HP, 500 attack, Naga team spread. That's fair. So we actually did see the prediction on the swap from Garunder into the Turok, and Argan doubled Fire Tornado plus Feather Gatling into the Volfi, almost taking it down. Really amazing the Volfi can even live that. That's a lot of damage, but I guess losing Pyromaniac boost from the Tolkien probably hurts a bit there. But still a really good prediction, making sure Argan keeps his lead. Had Demigel done that turn the other way around and still chose to use the defib on the Tolkien and swapped Turok to eat the double in, I think he would have had the advantage. because Volfi was really important in cleaning up this endgame for Demigel. But unfortunately, the Volfi is now down. The reason Volfi was more valuable than Turok is because Turok can beat Volfi, or Volfi can beat Turok with Plagues. And it's not in range to die from a turbine. But Tuvine has more than enough health to survive whatever double in Turok and Garunder have for it, and it can get a CPG into Garunder, forcing this game even closer to being a Turok versus the world, and unfortunately Turok just doesn't have enough anything to pull that off as well as it would like to. I do think Garunder could have lived the Fiery Soul and CPG turn had it stayed in against the Tolkien Tuvine board. The turn is swapped out, and just getting that damage from the defib probably would have been the play. But you know, hindsight's only 50-50. Well, if he's still alive and kicking, yeah. There's unfortunately no way that I see that Demigel can pull this one back. But Argan played incredibly well, getting almost every prediction right. It was really cool to see stuff like Demigel challenging the Tolkien on lead, but guessing wrong into which slot would swap was highly unfortunate. I still think both players played very well though. Here comes Volfi just to get the Plague, force Turok out of stamina. Alright, reason why Connor has 76% win rate. Yes, very good player, knows his team in and out, and he really gets in the head of his opponents. See a Feather Gathering on the Volfi, only dealing about 35%. But that is information that Demigel's team can use in future matches, knowing it's a fairly bulky Volfi. It'd be interesting to see a Turbine here, just to maybe gauge the Volfi's speed a little bit. We don't get to know if Turbine was clicked, but if Turbine was clicked, then they at least know that the Volfi is faster than the Turok. And if that Turok has speed investment, it could be some amount of information that may be nice. GG's to both players. And now Bots United is 2-0. Very curious to see if bots are going to send in one of the players we've already seen, or if they'll keep switching it up, kind of like Team Pizza in the last match. We'll just have to find out. Surprising win rate for a bot. Well, if the bot knows exactly what you're going to click every turn, it can make the opposite play. His character was made, he just clicked intellect a lot. Max intellect, 0 strength, but that's okay because this game's Temtem. And we don't do the fighting, just our Tems do. And maxing. I'll do a theme team where I take the Tems with the lowest in each respective stat, and then literally put as much into it as possible. I'll have a max speed Guldur, have a max special defense Pookie. I don't know some of the others. A max... Well, I couldn't even do a max special attack Gorong because it literally doesn't have any special attack moves. Maybe I won't do that. That just sounds awful to play anyways. Just reverse min-maxing. Max-minning. He's waiting on the players to or the teams to choose which player they're sending in next. It is a really good strategy to plan that ahead of time. We can now see it will be Logain versus Canood. I think that's how it's pronounced. I apologize if I'm wrong. Yeah, I can hear the Orphill spawning in the background, but I don't see any of them primarily green, so I'm sad. No green snakes yet. I'll wait to discuss the teams until we see them. Hazrat, Oshiara, both sides. Tuvine, both sides. Noed. Really? I mean, that's how it looks like it's spelled, or it's pronounced. I've heard it pronounced the other way before, so maybe somebody else is just being goofy. It's the French pronunciation. You call him Alright, Kanoid then. It's his meme name? Okay, maybe that's why I heard it before. Oopsie. Alright, so we see Hazrat banned out and Oshiara banned out. Both of these Temps, running both on their team, know how strong that combo is, and deciding to eliminate one option of each. Interesting that they chose the opposite of the other. Logain has triple toxic and possibly like a half toxic with Nox Bomb and Tuvine to deal with the Tyrannax, so no point in Kanoid running or banning out the toxics here. There's also triple fire, so the Chimerian isn't looking that well, it's looking really tasty, I suppose. I see a Hazrat picked up. That's a really interesting choice. There's double Earth available. Like, if Kanoid picks Drakash here, I don't even think a Water Blade, like, it has to be Schween's Horn Calibus, which it's not, to be able to kill this Drakash turn 1. But I suppose he's just gambling that Drakash is not running a turn 1 Earth move, because Drakash recently got Dust Vortex, which is much better than Mud Shower, and you don't really want to run Mud Shower anymore. But it does give you turn 1 Earth coverage. Sometimes people will run Sandstorm, so after the first turn you have constant Earth damage. And since we didn't see it picked up, that's going to be my guess. Turok has Gravel Bag, so it is a Soil Steam Turok, likely somewhat speed invested. So that's really important to know. We do see the Chim. This is probably going to be one of the only boards it's useful against. I guess it's also good against Nesla and Oshiara, so we'll just have to see. I'm not really sure how this is going to go. Node really wants to ban out. Yeah, I was going to say ban out one of the toxics, and banning out the water's pretty decent too. That frees up his fires a little bit, and also Calibus walls the double water. And we see the Drakash banned out, because without the water option, it does become a lot more viable. However, Tyrannax not weak to the earth types that there's two of, but it is weak to the double toxic. Oh, you would not be surprised at all if Logain decides to swap out the Hazrat turn 1, because it'll give a lot of value later on in the game, and it doesn't want to die to Turok. However, that play is so obvious that Kanoid probably just hits the Chimerian with the Turok. He's got to be careful though, because Turok is really his best counter to Hazrat, and almost everything else on his team hits Hazrat, or hits Turok's. Everything else on Logain's team hits Turok, super effective. Usakai Volfi, and then Voloran completely walls Turok, so this is going to be very interesting. Hazrat does have marbles. Some chip damage. Hazrat's trait has not been revealed yet, but almost everyone is Toxic Farewell. But if Turok does swap and Hazrat stays in, highly unlikely, but if that case happens, Turok does get chipped with chipped from Toxic Skin. So Hazrat stays in, or that's a really fast Adoro. Yeah, Hazrat stays in and gets a Lava Wave on the 2-Vine. I don't think Kanoid was planning on that play at all. So while Hazrat does take a lot of damage here, 2-Vine also did. 2-Vine's in range to die to hook from Osakai now. But the thing is, Logain really wanted to keep Hazrat around to deal with Tyrannak, because now he's basically just got Volorend. So Volorend becomes really important. It was also the matter of this Osakai is surely Sensei. I mean, most of them are right now. And Intimidator can turn off Sensei, making it practically useless unless it's got Rockfall as an option. Probably a Glass Blade, Toxic, or Venomous Claws onto the 2-Vine. No. He knew the Glass Blade would not kill and decided to go for the CPG and just sack the Hazrat for the Toxic Farewell damage to take out the 2-Vine. Interesting option, for sure. Not the one I would have picked. I don't think 2-Vine was that threatening. It was in range to die from Osakai. It was pretty close to dying from Volfi. Walled to Volorend, but it can't hit Volorend super well. Farewell got cancelled. Farewell does an automatic 10% damage. And then the 3 toxic ticks. So it did... Oh no. No, you're right, because Intimidator. Yep. No, not with Knack. I was thinking you were saying it was cancelled because of bait blocking the toxic ticks. So that was a dumb moment by me. Alright, Nesla is challenging the Tyrannak. Or challenging Logain. Like, do you want to kill my Nesla with your Chim, but then Chim dies? No, I'm not sure why we saw the Osakai in front of the Tyrannak. The only thing I can think of is that the Osakai has Jinx Whisper, and it will put the Tyrannak to sleep. The Tyrannakk's item is Nut Bar, so it does not have bait or energy drink or anything. Nope, Osakai just leaves now. Very, very strange. See the Water Blade. Chimerian does challenge and stay in. And Frond Whips. It actually outspeeds the Tyrannak. Tyrannak must have used Meteor Swarm. It does. Because Embers may not have killed Chimerian. Meteor Swarm doesn't even kill Chimerian. Man, the Spanish Inquisition just makes their Chimerians really, really tanky. That is so interesting. I love it, but that's really surprising. I don't think he wanted to take that damage on Volorend, though. Volorend would have been really nice against both Tyrannak and Adoro. Grak has Turbine up. You could take Chimerian out before it gets another hit off if you would like. Tyrannak also has Outgrowth up, so as soon as Osakai hits the field, it can hit it super effective. Osakai is running Reactive Vial, we can see, so but a Soil Steam, Outgrowth Soil Steam probably just takes it out. And Turok's not in range to die from 2 hooks. Saw the Chimerian saved, probably for the Adoro later, and Volfi swapped in. Intimidator is over. And Voliran gets a real tasty Nox Bomb off on that Tyrannek. But it is going to die to like one more hit of anything after the double in it took. Wolfie's on the field though and is threatening Turok. Tyrannek swaps. That's a interesting choice because I guess you're just turning next turn into a 50-50. Because Voliran, I'm assuming Voliran dies here. Yeah. Chimerian just comes back in, and the CPG's the Adoro slot. That's all it wanted to do anyways. So unless the Turok is faster than the Wolfie and can get a turbine off, then Chimerian is guaranteed to get value, because either Adoro stays in and eats the CPG, or it swaps out to Tyrannek, Turok dies, and then Chimerian CPG's the other slot. So the bulky Chimerian is actually working really well for low gain here. Wolfie does outspeed the Turok, and Doro stays in to eat whatever Chimerian's got for it. We might see the Denigrate here. Depending on how much offensive invest the Adoro has, it might not even kill the Chimerian. Well, no, you can't even hit the Wolfie, so you just Beta Burst, yeah. Reactive Vial on the Adoro. Reactive Vial. So that's probably why he stayed in to eat the CPG. But that's actually kind of bad, because now Adoro has to eat a Plague Hook. Could try doubling the Tyrannek as well if you're low gain. But as soon as Adoro is... If you can kill Adoro, then Osakai's not threatened. Oh, the Dust Vortex does not quite kill. Osakai gets its reactive vial here. The Outgrowth actually pushes off the Toxic Tick. It does not get the super effective damage. This is a very bulky Osakai. And it is not particularly worried about that damage. Wolfie can either Sludge Gift to finish off the Adoro, or it does. And then we probably just see a +2 at Dust Vortex into the Tyrannek, because Intimidator is long over. And that while that doesn't take it out, it's in range to die to anything it takes next turn. So low gain, given the bots United a run for their money. And picking up the first win for the Spanish Inquisition. Well played by both players. The bulky Chimerian really put in work. I think Kanode really played well, but just due to a lack of knowledge, was making different plays, and his opponent was playing knowing that he could survive what his opponent was dishing out. I lost my spot on the Discord. So I want to keep monitoring stuff so I can get into games as soon as they start. So Bots United probably rethinking their strategy, wondering who they're going to send in now. They know Low Gain's team, which is one of the two options that Spanish Inquisition has left to send in. So it's reasonable to assume that Bots United will send in somebody that has the best chance against Low Gain's team. But then Spanish Inquisition could predict that and send in their fourth player instead. But that also gives Bots United like scouting on who the fourth player is and what they're running. Because I mean, while Temtem is a very balanced game, like largely balanced, there is still some amount of counter teaming, and certain matchups will have an advantage over others. Alright. So we got next matchup. It'll be Anhelacho versus Argon. Should be a very good match. Two top players. See the return of Argon, and then switching it up, and we get to see Spanish Inquisition's fourth player. So, spoiler alert for like a few seconds. Oh, no, there it is. Okay, Anhelacho is also running a chicken. Will this one be a spicy chicken? Seems like the Spanish Inquisition loves their chickens, and two of them so far have eaten fire moves. So, I would not be surprised to see this one live a fire attack as well. See the Naga band out again. Argon does not like speed flips with his fast team. Very understandable. I didn't mention this the first game, but we actually see a Gazuma here, and there's no Digis. That's not a common. Gazuma is, in my opinion, used best with fast charge, but considering that Argon is higher ranked than me, he must see something I don't. Gazuma's other trait is receptive, so you can run like bait and get 3 turns of invigorized and immune, while also having the option of choosing chamomile instead with 3 turns, which can also be nice. Nacho also soloed, almost soloed East Coast Esports. I actually did see the results of that match. It was like 0-3, and then Anhelacho almost pulled off a reverse sweep. I was really rooting for him just because reverse sweeps are awesome. I think it was a nail biter of a final match, but spoiler alert, he was not able to pull through. But we'll see what if he can come out on top here and then tie up this round today at 2-2. But we're still in pick ban. Argon picking the Tolkien, and so we see a Platymus in response. Tolkien's turn 1 wind move is Wind Burst, and usually Platymus is faster than Tolkien with Aquatic Whirlwind, so it can get a faster water move off and threaten the Tolkien pretty bad. Most Tolkiens, almost every Tolkien, I think, lives in Aquatic Aqua Bullet Hell. So like a Turok is just there to, it looks like it's there to counter the back. Almost everything Argon's got there, except kind of like Platymus and Volthy. But it also helps deal with the Tolkien. Interesting. We see the 2-Vine. So Argon's board here cannot touch the Turok. Very, like, at all, really. Turok resists both stabs from each of these attempts. So we might see something where Argon wants to swap out the Turok, or the Tolkien, and just get a Feather Gatling off on the Platymus, and then finish it off with a Turbine the next turn. That could be what we see. We see a Gialis banned out in the second round. Something else that threatens Turok, and maybe predicting the Tolkien to get banned out and just didn't want to deal with the second crystal. The Evolfi picked up on both sides. Tremorian is available, but there are still 2 fires. I think a Lava Wave from Hazrat would kill the Tremorian even through their bulk, assuming it's another bulky Tremorian, just because Hazrat has one of the highest attack stats in the game, and Lava Wave has a higher BP than Fiery Soul. But I could be wrong. See the Hazrat, and the Platymus picked up double Toxic. So the Gazma's not getting any use again. It's like, here's kind of what I mean. Maybe it's like a specific counter to something, but genuinely, this is how I feel about Gazuma without a Digi. But the rest of the team is extremely good. Oh, Anhelacho also streams. You guys could check him out. Sub or like follow his Twitch. He streams in Spanish though, so if you're like me and only speak English. you just kind of gotta watch and understand what's going on. I mean, he also speaks English, but he streams to a wider audience in Spanish, so. So we set Turok with Fake Beard, the Heater token. If we see an attack on the 2 Vine here, it would actually proc bait and push off the burn. If something swaps, token has marbles. Just gonna have to see. I think Turok is extremely valuable. Even doubling in, not very effective into the Turok might be a decent play for Argon. But he's just gonna take the Tolkien Platimus trade. Although with the burn from the Aqua Bullet, or from the Heater, makes the Aqua Bullet and the Stone Ball not kill the token. So Heater getting a lot of value on that first turn. Volfi likely comes in to outspeed and Sludge Gift the token to finish it off. But we're more than likely going to see the token swap out because it knows that. Token does get another Marbles proc before it leaves though. It'd be... We're probably going to see the Volfi come in for Argon here, because there's double Toxic in the back, and Turok could very easily turbine the token slot. Maybe just see a Plague from the Volfi into the 2 Vine to proc its bait. Ooh, interesting. Maybe sacking the token? Yeah, we're sacking. So, the Nerd's fighting. Hello, Dino Dude, welcome. Yeah, we got a good match here. Do you see the Plague? And a Rockfall. Token goes down. Platimus is half health. I think that was a very good turn for Anhalacho, but also Platimus is on the field with Aquatic Whirlwind up against a Turok. But there's multiple Toxics in the back for it to swap to. We probably see 2 Vent come in, and we just see a... No, we see Volfi come in. Okay. Interesting. Maybe see an Aqua Bullet plus a Plague. For the Grunder swap. Can Plague Volfi. Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, Garunder, like, 2 Vine can threaten Garunder as well. Like, you just... CPG. But with Volfi here, you can threaten the double kill, the double prio onto the Volfi, instead of actually going for the very obvious choice of hitting the Turok. So Anhalacho does predict the double, and okay, that's very interesting turn. So Turok lives. Argon gets punished for not doubling the Turok by losing Platimus. I mean, most Turoks are pretty bulky, like max a really high HP invest and also some special defense as well to balance out the defenses. So it was never going to die to the Aquatic and needed a double in. But Volfi swapping out was also really unfortunate because Adoro is now trapped against a 2 Vine. I believe it lives a CPG Dust Vortex, but it's basically at like 10% health and dies to any amount of prio. It only has 1 hold off, so it doesn't have Inner Spirit to hit either of these 2 Tems. Turok just dies to the Plague now. Adoro loses like 70% health. Okay, 50%. Adoro's stupid. And it does like 20% to Volfi. Because Adoro has so much bulk invest, it sacrifices special attack invest. And Volfi's defensive typing and defensive stats are pretty decent. Grunder hates this field. Volfi kind of has to come in. But I don't think Volfi can do enough to flip this game. Volfi kind of has to plague the 2-Vine and hope that it OXs from the CPG. But if you're Argent, you're just Feather Galling, so you don't have to worry about the OX. You could hope your Volfi's faster and hope the Volfi OXs, but then your Grunder's still eating a CPG. It's a very, very rough spot for Anhelacho. Eudora really hasn't offered much this game. I'm not sure if it would have at all. It's basically a melee type that's not weak to... It's not weak to melee. I don't know. Like in this game, I'm not really sure what Adora was doing. It kind of just offered the melee coverage, and I guess it walled Platamus, but it wasn't even brought on the board when Platamus was here. Scarsing, hello. Yeah. So even after the Dust Vortex, I don't think the 2-Vine's in plague range. If it was, I think there would be some sliver of a chance. Because a Nox Bomb probably takes out Volfi here. The 2-Vine lives. Yeah. Any amount of chip on that 2-Vine in this game would have gone differently. Because Volfi would have died, 2-Vine would be down, and then Garunder has full health against a Hazrat. And it has hold off defibs, and it would be able to pull through, I believe. He doesn't have Clay Ball anymore, but I think a defib plus a ISO would have worked. Now if it's got Toxin Shower, it absolutely wins. I guess Lava Wave plus Venomous Claws has to kill Garunder here, otherwise Garunder probably outspeeds with Paizo. Yeah, that's definitely in range. Oh, no, very bulky Hazrat. That's good information for the side of the Spanish Inquisition. Just to know that it's a bulkier Hazrat. And GG's. Shirk has like 50% from defib Paizo. I'm pretty sure Argon makes his own spreads. But yeah, Shirk, I know, he's also got some crazy stuff. Alright. So now Logain is the only remaining member of the Spanish Inquisition to fight against the United Bots. Way too much Fizz Bulk. Must be to challenge Turox and 2-Vines. It's probably specifically 2-Vine. But it's only like 300 HP defense or HP invest in 2-Vine to live double Lava Wave from Hazrat, so it's also kind of sketch. Alright, and we see Kunders come back to try and finish out the round against Logain. Can Logain get the... Well, it's technically still a reverse sweep because he was the first win for the Spanish Inquisition, so he just played third, so we'll see if he can pull it off. Okay. For stream's sake, you'd recommend turn off music when tabbed. You know, somebody mentioned that a while ago and I had no idea how to fix it. I looked it up and still wasn't able to find anything. Is that just like a Twitch option or something? I'll have to look for that. Because it's something I definitely should do. It's a Temtem option? No wonder I wasn't able to find it. I'm not a professional streamer or anything, I just do this for fun and to provide content for y'all, so I appreciate the tips. Whatever, they're in match, so we're just gonna go Watch them and I'll fix it after. Quick fix, yeah. I just didn't want to miss any of the match. I'll check that off right afterwards though. Alright, so it looks like we are in a good position where I could actually finish the cast for this if it only takes another match or two. But if Logain comes back with an epic sweep, then I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to cover the rest of it. We'll have to see. We see a Zalbian ban and an Oshiara ban. Logain has no mentals to threaten out the multi-neutrals of Kunders. I'm a little surprised by the Zalbian ban. Not quite sure what Zalbian was offering that Logain was afraid of. But he must have had a reason. He knows his team better than I do. See, Osakai Chimerian versus the Mooflink. Osakai's got pretty solid defensive stats, especially on the physical side. And Chimerian has hostile to just be an immediate threat. Although Hook is a weak turn 1. So I'm not sure if it's if a CPG hook and then another hook turn 2 is enough to take out the Mooflinks. This Osakai has to be faster than the Mooflink turn 2 to prevent it from getting off the prio on the second turn. So we're gonna see. If I remember correctly, this was actually a bulkier Mooflink, so it more than likely lives the double in here. I mean, it'll definitely live it the double in. It's just, can it live the second hook after the attack boost? Alright. Osakai would be nice for 2 Vine in the back, but there's also a Volphy and a Hazrat. Calibus is practically a neutral with its tankiness. That is 17% on the first hook. I didn't even get a chance to talk much because both players just clicked their offensive moves. It's unnoticed. That is correct. So the Mimid is going to be gaining. The Mimid is not going to be gaining speed. Interesting. I wonder if we're going to see the hook into the Mimit now. And possibly like a Frond Whip to finish it off. Osakai is as good as dead. But it's tanky enough that it's going to have to be a double in from Kunders to kill it. Double Goring. I'm not sure these ones are running Goring. I think they're actually running Double Kick. We've only seen like 2 moves, Base Jump and Double Kick. I think we may have seen Bestial Charge as well. So it's either running Goring or Held Anger, would be my guess. I know the unnoticed ones don't always run Goring because they want to have access to Prio turn 1. Bestial Charge is like the best attack ever. I agree. It's pretty nuts. Yeah, I mean that just took a bunch of Calibus's health. The Frond Whip does not kill. Chimerian, if it has Glass Blade, it's probably going to want to use it here. But if the Mooflinks are faster, then they can get double kick off, which would take out the Chimerian. Laura Weaver calling somebody to get to their match. Don't worry, if you miss this match, I will be posting it to YouTube, and the VOD will also be available with me and my cutting out audio constantly. Oh, the double kick! On the real move flank, it's faster, but it got the +1 speed boost from Unnoticed. And the Mimit is also faster than the Chimerian. We know that this is a very bulky Chimerian because it lived... I think this is the one that lived a Meteor Swarm from a Tyrannac fairly healthily. And so it probably sacks damage and definitely has no speed in order to pull that off. And that was a big negative to that specific situation. We could see the Osekai come in now and get a hook off on the Mimit, but we know that that Mimit will survive. Or the Mimit will get a hit off first with double kick, which would hurt pretty bad. Hazoret comes in though, possibly hoping it'll outspeed. Maybe it's got more speed investment than the Osekai. Just get a Venomous Claws off on the Mimit. I'm sure that would take it down. It was a very nice move that was added, or is given priority to Hazoret in 1.4. I guess Lava Wave's an option too, just to cover swaps. But that hurts its stamina more. He uses Venomous Claws that has more staying power. Depends on what he wants to do. Could see Calibus swapping as well. Maybe if Calibus swaps to Osekai, we get the hold off on Inner Spirit, which probably wouldn't one-shot Yowler, but it would get like 60 or 70% of his health gone. So you Scunch swap in for the healthier move flank. The Mimit outspeeds, gets the double kick off on the Calibus. It did outspeed the Hazoret. Calibus, even though it's super tanky, it's still taking so much damage. Hazoret Marbles gets a little bit of damage on both the Scunch and the Two-Vine. That was the most disappointing Diabolo I think I've seen. The Hazoret was missing like 3 stamina and that's it. If your ally is max HP, max stamina, Diabolo does not proc, but Hazoret was missing just 3 stamina, and so it procced. Or like, maybe it was 4 stamina. Hazoret has mixed feelings about being on this board against Two-Vine. It's nice that I can hit it with a fire move, but it does less than half, and it definitely dies to a double in. Absolutely does. Logain is also running out of options to deal with Scunch. If he waits one more turn, Scunch will have Ninja Jutsu up, which will outspeed anything Logain wants to do. Does decide to stay in on the Hazoret, get the Lava Wave off on Two-Vine for 45%. Locking the Two-Vine's bait, which is kind of nice. Maybe getting a Toxic Ink off on the Two-Vine. Not sure yet. P-Jab into Feather Gatling. Even a really bulky Hazoret goes down to that. Toxic Farewell. I guess you wouldn't Toxic Ink then. We just need a Strangle on the Scunch. Now Osekai can come in and get a hook off on the Two-Vine, hoping it's faster than the Turbine. Tempest Seize when Diabolo is supposed to proc, just wait to proc when the Seize is over. Yeah, that's a really dumb mechanic. It just takes viability away from Seized. See Calibus swap out for Volphy. Just getting the hold off of Dust Vortex if it's needed. Ooh, the Turbine does outspeed the Osekai. So this Osekai has a lot of bulk, but sacrifices basically... Oh. We see the Dust Vortex from the Osekai. I was not expecting that. The Diabolo on the Scunch into the Two-Vine. Oh no. So Ninja is up on the Scunch, and Volphy is not super healthy. We could see like a Plague hook into the Scunch, hoping to kill it before, and hoping that the Scunch clicks something that's not Ninja. And then Osekai would be able to hook the Two-Vine next turn after this Toxic Tick, if it's faster. But it will not be faster than the move flank, so if it takes any amount of chip at all, the move flank will finish it off. So if we see like a ninja into the Osakai, I'm sure it lives because we saw that this is a fairly. It looks like a low attack invest scunch. Oh, you hit the 2-vine now? Okay. The plague here. It's okay. So it's a very bulky scunch and it's got fairly low attack invest. Because that plague did nothing. And the hook double in would not have killed, so had I been playing here, I would have not liked that. Moonflank comes in, we're just going to see double prio into the Osakai, finish it off before it gets the Inner Spirit nuke off. Both Tems are too low and Yowler's still full health in the back. 37 down to 10%, it really only did like 25% to the Osakai. And this Osakai just faced the wrath of neutrals and goes down. Calibus doing what it can, but not nearly enough. A Tsunami with a max special attack Calibus would probably get the double kill here. This is why you run 2 mentals. I really haven't seen neutral spam in a while. I think neutrals are getting close to a good power level. But we are not quite there yet. I think Kunu just has a really well-crafted team. Even if there are multiple mentals, he has counters to them. With the double 2-vine, double Zalbian threats. And that is a 4-1 win for Bots United. GG, well played to all players. That's going to be all for this series. So there is another match going on right now. It is Phoenix versus 2 Goulders, 1 Kita. And it looks like actually, it looks like a really good match going on right now. Chaotico versus Senior Plat. I have a little time between my match, but I want a really short break in between mine because my team has a match in 13 minutes, but you guys can go over and spectate that. I don't think anyone was streaming it, but I'm gonna check and see if there was, so we could go raid them. No, I do not. I think Loreweaver's gonna stream or cast another match, so maybe look up Loreweaver in like 15 minutes to check out my team's series if you would like some more Temtem competitive content as well. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Bye bye.